actually fragrant. When you smell it, it's very strong. It's got cumin, it's got clovers, cardamom. They're all grounded with ginger, grounded cinnamon, and then here we have the salt. So you can taste this. I cannot recommend that you're going to make 1 spoon or 2 teaspoons or 3 teaspoons. You can just put according to what you feel is okay. I'd probably say in terms of the shawarma spice, you're talking about 2 to 3 teaspoons all in all. And then, you know, the sprinkle of salt is according to your own taste. Here I've got vegetable oil. So the most important thing is with the vegetable oil, it's going to make things quite softer for the lamb. So it can cook better through the layers. So you can put a decent 100 millis. With the vinegar, I wouldn't put too much, but the acidity will allow the lamb to actually cook quicker and become tenderer. So around 20 milliliters. Now the good thing is you can just rub them all together and make them marinade. And I'd recommend a 12 hours marinade. Or you can work with it straight away, it doesn't matter really, but it will just give it a boost in the flavour if you marinate it for 12 hours in your fridge. Usually if I have people coming around, I'll do this on a Friday night and then cook it on a Saturday afternoon for evening. So rubbing it is really, really therapeutic actually. It just makes you so hungry. It's amazing. So here we are. The second step now is to start piling these into the shawarma tower. Building shawarma is not always very easy, but you know, necessity is the mother of invention, and so when you do it at home, you've got to really use your own skills. So I've got a little potato here. What I did is I kind of like squared it, made it a flat layer, and I'm going to put it into my silver foil lined tray. And then I'm going to get my basic skewers. I'm just going to insert them one by one, okay? I must admit, it's not the funniest of the jobs, but it's at the end it's just worth it. So just put them as near to each other as possible so that you can stack the meat into it. I bet the kids would love doing this with you. Now, I have to warn you, just be careful because there are sharp ends, so just mind your hands and work with it with love and you'll be safe. What we need to do first is to get an onion. This will work well because it'll give it a bit of a stamina and some more flavors into the meat. So you just hold the skewers together and you just try to lovingly push it in. Lovingly, you can see the love. Here we go, and we start by the meat. Okay, so that's the first layer of the meat. As I said, it's not going to be the easiest, but it will work. Just while you're doing it, mind your hands, and there you go. Look at that. When you see these layers coming down this way, you've got to make sure the other layer is going to be across to it. Okay, so I'm going to choose the thinnest one. So here we go. We're going to put it in and kill that meat in. You know, we're just going to go back in. And that's crisscrossed because you want them to have lovely layers. Okay, don't worry if it falls down. Now, I know sometimes when you're stacking, you know, heavy layers, it may fall down, but it doesn't matter. It's the end result that you have actually lined up a gyros, as the Greeks say. You know, I don't know whether you've ever wondered where shawarma comes from. Shawarma actually originated in Turkey throughout the Ottoman Empire, both 18th, 19th century. And then it was rolled into all over the Middle East, but first into Greece. Shawarma comes from the word gyros, meaning a turning skewer of meat. Once this goes into the oven and it comes out, it's going to just bring a smile into your kitchen and to all your loved ones around you. So that will be the last of them. And here we go, we're nearly done. And now we just get one tomato that we put it in. And here we go, your tower is ready. And it could just collapse and fall down, but it doesn't matter. What we need to do now, we're just going to foil it up and put it straight into the oven for about an hour and a half. It could be 2 hours, that depends on the power of your own oven. Usually around 180 degrees for 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, okay? That's going to be straight into the oven. So now, while the meat is in the oven, we're going to build up the board, the shawarma board. So what we're going to do with it is we're going to start with the accompanied vegetables like parsley, tomatoes, radish, fresh mint, and spring onions. And if you fancy a bit of a kick, we've got some chilies as well to get on with it. So now I get a little bunch of parsley, and it has to be finely chopped. And so once your parsley is finely chopped, you can actually just put it onto your board. And now you can move on to the spring onions. As well, they have to be finely chopped. And so once they're all done, you can just grab them and put them on the board. This is the beautiful part, is the variety of the herbs that goes with the shawarma. And then you move on to the radish. So you could just slice them and then cut them into trenches. They're nice, they're crisp, they're fresh, and they just add another dimension to the lamb. How lovely it is to add some fresh mint into your shawarma. So here are the leaves, and all you have to do is just pick them up. It's quite incredibly aromatic, and I don't advise you to put a lot, not more than a handful of fresh mint, otherwise it will start being slightly bitter. So as you see, just about a couple of sprigs, no more no less, but it works well with the onions. And you don't want to wound your fresh mint a lot, so just one cut, otherwise it'll just blackens and darkens in colour. Last but not least is the tomatoes. These are wonderful crisp beef tomatoes, and they're quite meaty, and they add a different dimension. Fresh, juicy tomatoes. Get a sharpened knife, which helps you slice the tomatoes, half them, or even quarter them. Whatever is your taste, it wouldn't matter really, but I love them quartered that way. And then just stack them onto your board. So to finish the last elements of the lamb shawarma, we're going to have to do the tahini. Tahini is actually made of sesame, and the sesame is cooked until they make it into a paste. So here's the tahini, and what makes it tasty is the lemon and the orange juice that we're going to add into it, and a bit of water, because tahini on its own, or the sesame sauce, is quite strong and earthy and rustic, so you need quite good elements of juiciness into it. You need to break it down with water as well, so about 2 milliliters of water, just to change its texture and make it slightly thinner. And usually tahini goes on top of your lamb and vegetables on your shawarma. Now I'm going to add a bit of clementine. Now a lot of restaurants just add lemon juice, and that's the actual recipe. But I love a bit of edge and change into my recipes. Clementines or orange juice usually add sweetness into the tahini, and it just makes it softer as a sauce on top of the shawarma. So this is the type of juices I recommend with tahini actually. So you can just work with the tahini. There aren't a lot of measurements, so you know, you can be scientific and measure it, but tahini in my own home has always been according to your eyes, okay, and that's what a home cook is all about. It's according to your eyes and taste. Some people like it thick, some people like it thin, and you can see now it's slightly thinner and slightly pasty. So now what we're going to do is add a bit of pimento or smoked paprika, which I love, on top of my tahini. Just a sprinkle or a dash. And we're going to finish it up by some herbs. Finely chopped spring onions. Just a little bit, so not more than half a sprig. So you just need that because you're on top of the tahini. And a couple of sprigs of parsley. And you know what? If you fancy a kick, I'm going to give you a bit of a chili into that. Because I love a bit of chili. I don't like chili sauces from restaurants. I make my own chili sauce as well, something I'll teach you later. But for today, fresh chili, quite hot. That's the kick I have on top of my tahini into my shawarma wrap or sandwich. Here we go. Look at the colours. And that's on top of my board. So the shawarma is now ready and it's dinner time. And we're going to grab it off the oven. I've just warmed up some pita bread and we're going to start carving that meat. I'm just going to grab this now. Wow, it's smelling gorgeous here. Wow, look at that. This is delicious. I promise you guys this is going to be amazing. Now just be careful while you're going to remove the skewer onto your board. And we can start slicing that. So the lamb is just cut into shreds and you can see it. It's actually very tender. This is gorgeous. As I said, you don't have to cut it in the perfect way. So here we are, these are slices of meat and you may just hit the skewers in the middle, so don't worry about that. So now that we've got enough of the meat, let's start by building up a plate of shawarma. And this is how we do it. So we've got enough meat on the board, so we grab a pita bread, a soft one that's been warmed, and you line up your meat in the middle of the pita bread. And then you put your favorite vegetables, so spring onions, parsley, and some radishes, and some tomatoes. As I said, remember, that's the reason why we didn't want to make big tomatoes. And then you finish it up with the tahini sauce. Now that's going to add a bit of edge. You see, the shawarma sandwich is not delicious without tahini. Especially that tahini with the lemon and orange juice, that sweetness and saltiness and sourness, all these tastes, they look amazing together. And here is the shawarma plate ready for you to dig in. It's just the Lebanese way.